Hey class, welcome to chapters 13 and 14. First of all, I just want to say these two chapters are absolute gold. As I read through them, I really started to see what Hawthorne's goal was to talk about. And we still have quite a few more chapters yet, and I know that I'm reading this along with you, but I'm excited to see where we go from here. Anyway, so starting with chapter 13, we have another view of Hester. And we can see here that Hester she is going to be concerned with Dimmesdale. Okay, as a matter of fact, she is going to be so concerned that she's going to help him. And I'm going to read this first page for you and give you some notes that I thought about here, and then we'll summarize and then set you guys on for the rest of chapter 13. So in her late singular interview with Mr. Dimmesdale, remember she saw him on the scaffold, Hester Prynne was shocked at the condition in which she found the clergyman reduced. His nerves seemed absolutely destroyed. His moral force was abased into more than childish weakness. It groveled helpless on the ground, even while his intellectual faculties remained their pristine strength, or perhaps acquired morbid energy. Energy just means from disease, which disease could only have given him. With her knowledge of a train of circumstances hidden from all others, she could readily infer or figure out that besides the legitimate action of his own conscience, a terrible machinery had been brought to bear, and was still operating on Mr. Dimmesdale's well-being and repose. I'm not going to tell you what the machinery is here, but I want you, by the end of this chapter, and especially in chapter 14, you should be able to tell me what the machinery is here. Okay? Knowing what this poor fallen man had once been, her whole soul was moved by the shuddering terror with which he had appealed to her, the outcast woman, for support against his instinctively discovered enemy. She decided, moreover, that he had right to her utmost hate. She will help, right? She's going to help him. Her utmost hate. Little accustomed in her long seclusion from society to measure her ideas right and wrong by any standard external to herself, Hester saw, or seemed to see, that there lay a responsibility upon her in reference to the clergyman, which she owed to no other or the whole of the world's besides. So she has a special link with Dimmesdale because he is the one that she sinned with, had a child with. There is a link between them. This links that united her with the rest of humankind, links of flowers or silk or gold or whatever material, had all been broken. But here's this link, right? Here was an iron link of mutual crime, which neither he nor she could break. Like all other ties, it brought along with its obligations. So the fact that they sinned or they had a crime together, she feels like it's her responsibility to help him out. Hester Prynne did not now occupy precisely the same position which we had beheld her during the earlier periods of her ignominy. This is her shame. Years had come and gone. Pearl was now 7 years old, so it's been 7 years. Her mother, with the scarlet letter on her breast, glittering in its fantastic embroidery, had long been a familiar subject to the townspeople, as is apt to be the case when a person stands out in prominence before the community, and at the same time interferes neither with the public nor individual interest and convenience. A species of general regard had ultimately grown up in reference to Hester Prynne. It is credit of human nature that, except where its selfishness is brought to play, it loves more readily than it hates. I was like, really? Interesting. Hatred, by gradual and quiet process, will be even transformed to love, unless the change, being impeded by continually new irritation of the original feeling of hostility. I thought this was really interesting part right here. I'd love to bring this up in a discussion. In this matter of Hester Prynne, there was neither irritation nor irksomeness. She never battled with the public, but submitted uncomplainingly to its worst usage. She made no claim upon it. In other words, she was not asking for things in requital for what she suffered, in payment. She did not weigh upon its sympathies. Then also the blameless purity of her life during all these years in which she had been set apart to infamy was recklessly was reckoned largely in her favor. With nothing now to lose in the sight of mankind, and with no hope, seeming no wish of gaining anything, it could only be a genuine regard for virtue that had brought the Blackport wanderer to its paths. So Hester is even considered virtuous in a way now. People are starting to see she lives a good life. She, down here, she is generous. She gives to the poor, okay? And so this is what chapter 13 is all about. As you read through this chapter, what I want you to do, okay, I want you to see how Hester has changed. And the big question I have in your big discussion question is, this change is actually, there's a strength to it that I think is really interesting. And so I want you to read as you go through here. You can see words I have here, right? Humility. She's able. The A stands for able instead of adultery or whatever it did before, right? Even the rulers are starting to be kind to her, okay? And so on and so forth, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to take a look and see how she's changed over these 7 years. And almost kind of see how her punishment was actually almost a positive thing for her growth. Hester Prynne is not a bad person. As a matter of fact, she's a very respectful person at this point. Okay, and people are starting to notice this. It's a long chapter. At the end of the chapter, Hester decides that she's going to go speak with Roger Chillingworth. So really the whole chapter could be said that she feels bad for Dimmesdale, and she's going to decide she's going to go speak with Chillingsworth on his behalf. But the whole middle here is kind of this commentary on how Hester's changed. So that's what you need to look for, and that's what I want you to do, okay? Any quiz questions and stuff are going to be asked, like, find a quote that shows how Hester has changed and something positive that has come from, the Scarlet Letter. You would look in here and highlight those things and write the things on the side, okay? That's what you need to do with that one. So chapter 14 is, of course, her seeking out Chillingsworth, okay? She sends little Pearl down while she goes and talks to him. And her discussion with Chillingsworth is remarkably candid, and it's actually, both of them admit that they are in pain. Chillingworth even admits at one point that he is not a devil, he's what do we call it? A fiend all the way down here. Hester makes her case. She feels like she needs to be faithful to Dimmesdale, okay? So take a look at this chapter, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to see how Hester feels about Dimmesdale and Chillingsworth. And then the other thing you really need to do is you need to figure out how Chillingsworth views himself. Because this hatred that he has, it's consumed him, okay? This isn't a long chapter, but you need to, I want you to read and try and understand how Hester and Dimmesdale see each other. Hester is specifically going to ask Dimmesdale to allow her to reveal, Hester's specifically going to ask Chillingworth to reveal who Dimmesdale is. And there's going to be discussion at the very end. It's a little bit confusing, but I want you to try and get that yourself. All right? So let me know if this helps. I kind of summarized this chapter, but I told you what's basically in it. Let's see if you can figure it out. Okay, and then let me know how that goes. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.